Welcome back to the Showtime podcast hosted by your favorite host, Mr. Showtime himself. Now, today's my very first reaction video, or should I say, response video to King Rich's latest video titled Black People versus the World. So true, very true. In this world, by virtue of you being black, apart from your credentials, apart from your performance, not even going as far as looking at that, just based on your the fact that you are black, your ethnicity already puts you on the back foot in these westernized society. Now, I'm from South Africa, born and raised. I'm Zulu, 100%. And even in countries like South Africa, where my people are the majority, it's still like there's two dimensions of South Africa. You get the white South Africa, and then you get the black South Africa. Now, I was born and raised in the white South Africa, in a white neighborhood, predominantly white environments. I went to a white primary school, white high school, etc. Right? And what King Richez spoke about in his videos, it's not something new to me. It's not something it's, it's not something I didn't know, but it is something I was suspicious of for the longest time. And he simply confirmed my suspicions. I agree with pretty much everything King Richez said in all of his videos. I've watched a lot of his videos, and the first time I discovered his channel and I saw his videos, I binged watched his videos. I said to myself, aha, true. My suspicions have been confirmed. It's not something like I said, it's nothing new, but I've always had my suspicions. And shout out to King Richez for making it clear, making it that much clear to me. And now I'm here to make it that much clear to you, the viewers who are watching. I've been burned quite a lot, you know, by not only by white supremacy, but also by my own people, the behaviors and the dysfunctional values and beliefs of my own people, right? Although I grew up in a uh, stable uh, background where both my parents are still married till this day, and yeah, I grew up in a pretty stable household. Both parents were traditional, and they're still married till this day. But sadly, the same can't be said for the majority of other fellow black people, because the majority of them grew up in single parent homes, and it's not their fault. I mean, you don't choose the circumstances you're born in. But I, for one, was fortunate to be born and raised in a two parent household, both parents still married till this day. And I said to myself, I'm quite fortunate because that's rare in the black community, especially now, especially in this day and age, where it's gradually becoming worse and worse. Now, out of five kids, five, four siblings, I'm the fifth one. I'm the youngest. I'm the fifth. I'm the fifth one. So I come from a household of five kids. I'm the youngest, and it's quite shocking because here's the catch. I know of a few other people also came from two-parent households. But I don't know. It seems like I don't want to say this. I hate to say this, but it would seem. I'm not saying it is. It would seem like dysfunction is just in our DNA because you get certain people who come from two-parent households. They went to multiracial schools, but yet somewhere along the line they pick up this wretched dysfunction mindset. Like this person was blessed with all the equipment, and then you think that this person would be on the straight and narrow in life, but they're out here doing what pretty much what the rest of the dysfunctional people are doing. I think it's true what they say when they said a child is raised by a village. It's true. I mean, I didn't fall in that space. In fact, I was kind of made fun of and called weird because I wasn't perpetuating stereotypical behaviors. I was ostracized for that. I was called weird because I wasn't acting buffoonish. I was not acting like a clown. I wasn't loud, rude, obnoxious, uh, buffoonish. I wasn't about that life, and still to this day I'm not, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud I have like proper values. You know, I'm on the straight and narrow. I went to university and I'm finished now. In fact, I just finished my last assignment and I'm waiting to graduate. Right? Now, although you get some black people who went to high school, they finished their education, but there's a small difference between the college educated guy and the street thug. They both seem to have similar values regardless of their education. Why? Because the mind is still the same. The dysfunction is still programmed. If you didn't catch dysfunction in your household, whether you were raised by a single parent, you're definitely gonna catch it with your friends or the influences you see in music videos, movies, and the media. It's sad that in the black community, the, the the type of person who gets to be the spokesperson for black people, it's always some ex-con, convict, criminal thug, ratchet, thought, all these negative role models. Why are these people speaking on the behalf of black people? Because this is sending the message that this is as good as we are as black people, which is not true. Where are all the lawyers and the doctors and all the positive role models in mainstream media speaking on serious issues about the black community? So in other words, I'm trying to say is we do not have proper representation in the media, in movies and in the media basically. And that further perpetuates further stereotypes, negative stereotypes about us because we're constantly being represented by these negative role models. It's the same case in the UK, in the US, and here in SA, South Africa. It's the same. These three countries, South Africa, US, and the UK, we have a similar experience in all aspects, even in dating. I mean, our women are just like completely loose cannons. The rate of single parenthood, the rate of single mothers, it's unprecedented. It's shocking. And I've mentioned in one of my previous videos that 0% of the girls that I went to high school are married. but about 70 to 80% of them are single mothers. They don't even know the names of the baby daddy. Neither do they care. The dysfunction just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And it messes opportunities for people like us who are trying to make it in life. You know, the people who have proper mindsets. It kind of messes things for the rest of us because we get judged in the same pot, in the same toilet. Like King Richez said, us as black people, we are judged as a collective. If one black person steals, all black people steal. If a black person does this, it's a setback for the rest of us. Sadly, it doesn't have the vice versa effect where if a black person does something positive, they never seem to say, oh, okay, all black people does positive stuff. No, if you do something positive, it's for you individually. But if you do something negatively, the whole community takes the hits. It's painful to be judged as a person based on what the rest of the not even the rest, based on someone else's mistakes. I get judged the same way because we're both black. We're judged as a collective. Us as black people, unfortunately, we're judged as a collective. Whereas with white people, if one individual messes up, they say, no, it's him individually. They don't judge the whole race. Because remember, white people control mainstream media, they control the narratives. And unfortunately, things are not in our favor. No matter how good you are, you're gonna have to work 10 times as hard just to be just to compete with the average person, just to be on par. It's painful and it's sad. And I've been in certain spaces where I've realized that black people are willing to overlook other black folks for non-black people because us black people have developed a level of self-hate, self-hatred. We trample on, we step on, we insult our own people, and then we pedestalize non-black people. And other ethnics have taken notice of this and they are taking advantage. It's too bad. It's too far to reverse now. I've mentioned in one of my previous videos as well that our people need therapy. Now I know what most people think when I say therapy. They take that as an insult. No, when a person has a mental issue, again, in the black community, mental illness is it's so high. Black women have unrealistic dating standards. Black men aren't doing what they're supposed to because they're lazy. There's just so much wrong in the black community. It's just the black community is just in shambles. It's broken. We are broken people, and it's up to certain individuals who have a certain mindset, a certain insight to shed light on certain issues. But hold on, it gets worse. Black people seem to have this love affair with dysfunction. Shout out to King Richez. He said this. He mentioned this as well. Black people are attracted to evil. Black people love evil, love dysfunction. They they hate the idea of improving and working hard to be in a better position. Because as soon as someone steps in to try to improve the black community, they call him a sellout. Nelson Mandela saved us from apartheid. And there's a fair number of people out here still to this day who say, oh no, Nelson Mandela sold us out. He's a sellout. And I'm like, what do you mean? They never seem to give a clear, logical, straight answer that makes sense. It's always just like, oh no, he just sold us out. And I'm like, do you prefer going back to apartheid? See, this is the mind of the black person. We're backwards. Black people love to complain, but at the same time, we perpetuate our own dysfunction to our detriment. Black people have such a love affair with dysfunction. If someone tries to improve the community, they get shamed, laughed at, they get shut down, they get invalidated. How many times have you as a black person tried to raise a serious issue, and then other fellow black people come in your comment section, try to invalidate you? So in other words, you say 1 plus 1 is 2, and they'll argue you down like like trying to shoot down a kite. They'll argue you down. They'll come up with all sorts of shaming tactics, so all to just disprove your point, even if it's right. But if it's coming from a non-black person, they're like, yes sir, yeah, he's right. They never seem to argue non-black people, even if they're just talking complete nonsense. They never seem to argue with a non-black person, because if it's coming from a non-black person, it must be right. So in other words, 1 plus 1 coming from a black person, no, that's wrong. He's talking crap. And then 1 plus 1 coming from a white person, yes sir, yes sir, aye sir, I'm a cotton that barrel, sir. Stupid. We're both saying the same thing. We're both saying the same thing. But if it's coming from me, it's wrong. I'm talking nonsense. But if it's coming from Kevin, it's right. This is the mind of a black person. So I propose every single black person on the face of the earth seek therapy. I'm not saying that as an insult, because I know that I'm like, why don't you seek therapy? Why don't you seek therapy? Listen, I'm not like the majority of you. I don't value dysfunction. I've been burned by you more than white supremacy. Obviously, if it doesn't apply to you, then let it fly. Obviously, I'm not talking about, okay, I'm not talking about every single black person on the face of the earth, but us as a culture. Understand what I say? We need therapy. We need to restart and reaudit our minds. We need to complete rehash of our mentality, because mental illness, mental illness, mental sickness it's at its peak with us. Thanks to the indoctrinations, thanks to the movies we watch, thanks to the mainstream media narratives. It's not completely our fault. Certain things are our fault, certain things are not our fault. But I'm talking about what we can control. That's what we should tackle. And we can start by therapy. Because obviously there's a lot of traumas from our experiences. The black person, we must completely reset our minds, our mentality, our beliefs, our values, and instill positive values such as family values. That's how you build positive, functional communities. There's a lot to unpack here, but thank you to King Richez for that video. It was so truthful. He's one of the people that inspired me to start my own podcast channel in the first place. Still trying to grow the channel. People, please support the channel. I'm trying to reach 100 subscribers so that this channel can get like a snowball effect and start to grow by itself. So please, thank you for listening. If you've made it this far, please like, subscribe, share, and comment your thoughts. Shout out to King Richez. Uh, you are a very intelligent individual. And shout out to the yeah. Thanks for listening.